No, I think it's gonna be a good game for sure. I mean, you guys want to go into it? You guys want to talk about the Niners and Eagles game? It's a week 13 game. I know usually we don't do this, talk about a game more in depth, but I feel like this, if we're going to, this is gonna be the game to do it, right?
Mhm.
I'm how
Talk about it if you want.
how you feeling?
Okay, what?
Am I feeling?
Yeah, how you feeling, Niners fan? How you feeling about this Eagles game?
I feel like we've been playing really well. I feel like we played some good teams and we've shown just how good our team is. And I feel like if we're ready as we'll ever be as if we're going to play the Eagles.
How do you see the game
I feel
going?
like we have a good chance. We have a good chance. I know the Eagles are obviously the best team in football right now,
The
and
Niners aren't no
so
slouch. Are they not no slouches though? I think a lot of us have them top
oh no,
three.
no, oh yeah, I'm just saying as in obviously record wise and stuff, the Eagles are the team to beat.
Hmm.
So I feel like on our 3 game stretch, after our losses, I feel like we've played some really good football, and I feel like we're ready.
All right. Okay, Vince, you not non-biased here. What do you think?
Again, I said this I think 2 weeks ago. Only problem I see is how do the Eagles defense guard both Kittle and McCaffrey? Like they have Slay on the outside, but yeah, that's the only thing I'm interested in seeing basically is whether they can guard them both with basically just linebackers and maybe a safety over the top. But
I
anyway, I think it's going to be a good, hard fought game, and I'm interested to watch it.
I feel like we'll see a lot of
Divided.
Byard on Kittle. To be honest, I see Byard in man coverage a
I
lot.
think uh, I think the Eagles will do a really good job stopping Chris McCaffrey in the run game because
Mm,
the Eagles do have a really good run defense. I feel like Brock Purdy's going to have to throw the ball more, and I know the Eagles pass rush is really good, but we do have
yeah,
Trent Williams back, and I feel like I know the Eagles pass defense isn't the greatest, and I feel like the 49ers are just going to have to um, try to expose that. Mostly, I feel like we're not going to get much on the run game,
mm.
so I
Well,
feel like
yeah,
we're going
I
to
was
have to pass more.
talking. Sorry, were you done? I'll wait until you're done. Keep going.
No, you're good.
Um, yeah, I was talking like when I said Kittle and CMC, like, can they stop both? I meant in the past game because CMC is probably the best receiving back in football right now. The only one that comes close is probably Eckler or Kamara. But anyway, I just the linebackers they have, can they guard Kittle while still locking up CMC? I was highly skeptical with that, but
Oh, how is Lane doing?
Um, I think that I think Lane could have gone. But I think that they pretty much held him out to make sure that he was going to be healthy for this week.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, I seen it was on MR. They did an MRI, and
he
he's
had
like a
some
day to
inflammation.
day kind of practice.
Yeah, I had to be honest. My a greater concern of mine is that when you play these games and these wet these soak bowls or whatever you want to call them, you tend to lose a lot of players. I mean, last week alone we lost Zach Cunningham. I think Nick Morrow went out for a period of time. Jalen Carter went down for a few plays. Fletcher Cox, it's a huge loss. He may actually be there to play against the 49ers, which, really could potentially affect how effectively we are in the run game, especially with how diverse the 49ers are. As far as locking up Kittle, I mean, unless the guy's unhealthy, can you really ever lock Kittle up? No, I don't think you can. I think, the most important thing you can do with Kittle is not get caught in situations as to where he's where he gets behind you. But I think that it was a few things that we saw um in previous games against the 49ers, which shows that they're not superhuman. That Browns game, uh, when you pressure Brock Purdy and you actually hit him, and throw the timing off on those plays, because all those plays that they run are very, very time oriented. And I don't see Brock Purdy changing the plays. He's coming out and he's running with the coach's calls, and that's fine. Doesn't I'm not trying to, negate anything he's done. He's had a great year, and he's really good at, getting to the ball to the open guy. But I think that if the Eagles can disrupt that a little bit, and they're gonna have to bring pressure. You're gonna have to, you don't want to live and die by the pressure, but that's something that the Eagles don't do a lot. And when you play that much zone, you can, find yourself getting dotted, as they say.
Do you think they will bring the pressure? The pressure?
I think they will dial up the blitz in certain situations, but let's be honest here. We're going to see a different 49ers team. They have what, 10 days to prepare for the Eagles? They have a really long, they have a lot of preparation time, and I just knowing the coach, he's going to bring some things that the Eagles haven't seen before, and the concepts don't usually change. What changes is the formations and the looks. So I think that if and I love Kyle Shanahan, but I think that he either is going to kill you or he's going to kill himself. Because he's either gonna outsmart himself, and a lot of times when the Niners do lose, I think him outsmarting himself has a lot to do with it.
Real quick, Elmo, was Trent Williams? Did he play the full game against the Browns?
He went down for a couple plays on a I think a ankle or a foot injury. He wasn't 100% on the Browns, and that's why he was out the next 2 weeks.
I was gonna say, I feel like the Trent Williams thing was huge. When you were talking about pressure, I think you were right. I think getting pressure to him is a big thing, like most quarterbacks.
No, it is. It was the pressure. I feel like with Brock Purdy, I feel like not having Trent Williams on his blind side was really throwing off his timing and all that. Because obviously, if you have a dude like Trent Williams on your blind spot, you're not really worrying about that side of the field, And I feel like that gave him the relief that he can actually think in there and make his reads without having to worry about getting hit.
The one thing so if we're talking about that, and I think this happened last year as well, which is one of the things that the 49ers do, and in some cases they do it very well. On the side opposite of Trent Williams, they tend to use a tight end over there a lot. And that's what got Brock Purdy knocked out the game against the Eagles. You cannot have a tight end blocking the Eagles' best pass rusher. But I would assume that he would learn from that mistake, and I assume that he's going to come prepared, because the Eagles don't do like what's the Cowboys do and try to create matchups with the defensive linemen. They may run some stunts, but you know exactly where Hassan Reddick is going to be. You know exactly where Sweat is going to be, and you know what? You just got to block them up. And I think that, if they're able to do that and the Eagles aren't bringing pressure and they're not affecting Purdy, it could potentially be a tough day. But I also think that the Eagles, because of the style of how they play and how they hold the football, I think that if they get a lead on the 49ers, I think the game is going to be over fairly quick. If the 49ers gets a lead on the Eagles, I think it can get ugly. I don't, and that's just, because the Eagles, the 49ers don't, when they score, they generally scoring relatively fast. Boom, boom, boom. Their plays are pretty fast, and, their pace is relatively fast. Whereas the Eagles is slow and methodical, and they'll go for it on fourth down, and they'll gamble. They'll do all sorts of unconventional things. And I think that if we see a situation where Brock Purdy makes a mistake and they go down, I think that the game is gonna not be good for the 49ers. But if the 49ers gets up by like say 14, yeah, that defense ain't gonna surrender like everybody else has. You know.
I hear you. You guys have anything else to say, or do you guys want to get into the game pick?
I'm ready to move on.
Okay, well, hold on. Who do you think is gonna win then, Vince? We'll start with you. Eagles, Niners.
Eagles.
I'm gonna go with the Niners, not because I think they're the better team. I just feel like every player on that team that was at least played there last year has it circled on their calendar. They're treating this like a win or go home game, even though it's just a regular season game. I feel like they're gonna go all out. I feel like you're right. The coach is gonna call something up that we've never seen before. I feel like we're gonna see a super motivated team just because they want to be like, oh, we could have won that game last year if we had our quarterback. I think where it's going to be really interesting is the playoff game. I feel like that's going to be much more telling as far as because I'm sure we'll see these two teams in the playoffs, and that's what I want to see. But as far as this regular season games go, as far as this game goes, I think it's Niners. I think they're just going to play harder, even though it's a regular season game. It means more to them. Do we have to ask you guys,
I'm
or
going Niners.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Totally
You think Niners?
Yeah.
How you feel? Like close game,
Niners,
close game, or do you think, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be a close game.
Um,
I don't think we're gonna blow them out or anything. I think their defense is too good for that.
Yeah, once Dwight said Niners, that basically guaranteed us a tied in vote. Excuse me.
I'm taking the Eagles by a touchdown. The reason why is the X factor that the 49ers aren't counting for. And that being a home game in late November, 17 degrees, and in the rain. And I think with the Eagles having just played 2 other games under those conditions, listen, I'm sorry. You can fake the ball a million times, you know, because that's what the 49ers do. They do a lot of misdirection, but eventually you fake it too many times, you're going to slip. It's going to slip out of your hand one time. And I think that was one of the factors that really allowed the outside of the late kick that was missed in that Browns game. I also thought that was a factor. I also do not think the 49ers have a reliable kicker in those conditions. And
We don't have a reliable kicker in the regular conditions.
That's true. I agree with the kicker. I didn't even think about the kicker. I think Jake Elliott. I think he showed that he can be money in the weather.
No, Jake Elliott's a way better kicker than Moody.
Better Jake.
Better Jake.
I got the better Jake. I don't know. It should be a good game. I think it's a 1 o'clock. Let me see.
It's a 4:25 game.
It's a mid game.
Oh yeah.
Why did they flex this? This would be like the perfect flex game.
Because see, it's a couple of things, right? The game I believe should have been at 1 o'clock, but then that would have put the 49ers at a disadvantage. And had they lost, no offense to you, Elmo, that'd give Debo Samuel something else to cry about.
Because the Sunday night game is the Chiefs and Packers.
All right. It's going to be a good matchup. I mean, I think what Greenlaw's back, right? Greenlaw's back. You know, you got Trent.
Greenlaw's been back. Trent's back. Debo's back.
Yeah, you got Trent. You got Debo.
Oh, it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think Stolen Hands. Debo's going to show up.
Me saying it's going to be a great game is usually a curse for one of you guys. So I'm sorry when one of your team gets blown out by 20.
If the Eagles, the one guy that I fear on the 49ers, I absolutely fear this man, is Christian McCaffrey. Nobody runs a wheel route or an angle route like that guy, man. And, you know, when they get that you know, because they used to run it when they were with the the Commanders, where they get everybody bunched up and the quarterback goes one way and the guy leaks out in the back end and he's wide open. And you're like, man, who's supposed to cover that guy? Yeah.
Well, you gotta be careful with that too, because last week against the Seahawks, we ran obviously a fake Chris McCaffrey handoff and end around a Debo. We had the whole defense chasing Chris McCaffrey because they were so afraid that Chris McCaffrey was going to run the ball through their faces that they weren't worried about Debo running the freaking the cross behind the quarterback.
Yeah, no, it's certainly going to be there's going to be a lot of wrinkles. There's going to be a lot of wrinkles. The good thing that the Eagles have going for them is that Jordan Davis is 500 pounds, so it's really hard to run up the middle on that guy. And say what you want.
Is
Last year,
this?
yeah, you couldn't throw the ball and you couldn't run the play action. But you
Oh,
also couldn't run the football. So if they
Well,
stop the
Steve
run,
was the only one that scored a touchdown for us. So
well, yeah, Christian McCaffrey, yeah, and that was in the first quarter. So again, if you can't run the ball, look, and I don't care who you are, if you're going to beat the Eagles, and I think that even the Chiefs, Andy Reid knew this. If you're going to beat the Eagles, you got to run the ball.
and
And,
run whip
we'll
routes.
run.
yeah, you got to run the
We'll
ball,
run.
huh?
I'm sure Chris McCaffrey's going to get like 25 carries.
Yeah, he's going to get 25 carries and he's going to have like 35 yards. Look, I'm sorry,
Probably
he's
have
just
3 touchdowns too.
I don't know. I mean, listen, you know what? In the rain, I expect him to touch the ball. I expect Swift to touch the ball. Those guys are gonna get as long as if the Eagles don't turn the ball over, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be one of those classic, just drag out games. It's not gonna be exciting. You're not going to see a bunch of deep passes unless AJ Brown or IU gets over the top. But I don't see it being that game. I think I can see it being a very low scoring, fight it out, dogfight game, and I think that whoever makes the mistakes loses. And I just hope and honestly, you know what? If we lose to you guys, that might be the loss that we need to keep us on track so that our head doesn't get too big. Because the reality is that you don't want to go into the postseason thinking you're better than everybody else. And that's something that can we beat the 49ers this week, but then we get them in the second in the division game and they beat the hell out of us. What have we have accomplished? Nothing. I would rather, if I'm going to lose to the Niners, I'd rather lose now and I'd rather have an idea what you guys are going to do because I know you ain't going to come in here a third time and beat us.